Right now, it's time for some European action. The teams are out. West Ham looking to make it back-to-back wins in Group A as they look to further their Europa League journey once again. Can they give Freiburg a fright tonight in Germany? Taking you through this one, former West Ham defender Scott Minto. But first, your match commentator for this evening, Alex Crook.
Thank you, Ollie. Good evening, everybody. West Ham United were history makers last season as they lifted aloft their first major trophy in 4 decades by winning the Conference League. Tonight, they have the chance to become record breakers by becoming the first ever English team to go 17 European games unbeaten. That will put them one match ahead of Pep Guardiola's current Manchester City side, Don Revie's Leeds and Bill Nicholson's Tottenham double winners of the early 70s, whose record they share at present. It's illustrious company to be keeping. And speaking of illustrious company, here's Scott Minto.
That's the first time you've ever been nice to me, Crookie, I've got to say.
It won't last.
It's lovely to sit alongside you. And look, you know, I do think this is going to be a really tough game. I think we know that Freiburg, with the match day one, they got the good win against Olympiacos. They, you know, scored goals and actually came back and held the 3-2 win in that game. So I think here, if you're the home side when you're playing in group stages, you'll be wanting to win matches. So I think from West Ham's point of view, at the very least you want to keep a draw. We know how good they were in the group stages last season, but I do think the Europa League is another level up from the Europa Conference League, so it's going to be an interesting game.
Lucas Fabianski captaining West Ham tonight. He is just going through the pre-match coin toss with the Freiburg skipper Vincenzo Grifo. Mohamed Al-Hakim of Sweden is the referee. David Moyes' men have very much picked up in the Premier League where they left off on that glory night in Prague. They're currently sitting pretty in 7th place in the table. They make 6 changes from their weekend win over Sheffield United. Sofal, Ward-Prowse, Alvarez, Paquetá and Bowen, who we expect to lead the line up front. The players who retain their spots: Fabianski in goal, Sofal, Mavropanos, Aguerd and Kera in a reshuffle back 4. Ward-Prowse and Alvarez in front of them, with Kudos and Paquetá up in support of Jarrod Bowen in attack. One big absentee for Freiburg. It comes in the form of their injured captain Christian Günther. So it's Atabolo in goal. Sildilia, Ginter and Lienhardt make up a back 3 for the hosts. Salai and Kubler are the wing backs, with Egerstein and Hoffler in midfield, and Adamu and Grifo either side of Lucas Hola in attack. It will be West Ham, all in dark blue, shooting from left to right in this first half, who get us underway. Freiburg, 5th in the Bundesliga, in their predominantly red strip, are shooting from right to left. This the German side's first ever meeting against an English team, and it was a bit of a nervous moment defensively. Sildilia collapsing on top of the ball to try and help it back to his goalkeeper, and there was a slight suspicion, Scott, of an early handball inside the penalty area.
Well, it's one of those nightmares for a defender where you're not quite sure whether you can get your foot up or your head down, and it's kind of almost in between, and yeah, he's fallen into it. I don't think you're going to get a penalty at this early stage. I mean, it's irrelevant whether it's early. I don't think it was a complete handball there. So, you know, but you're right, a little bit of a nervy start. Important for West Ham to try and press how they want to play in this game.
And a weird dynamic with the lack of travelling supporters. You would feel that has to give Freiburg somewhat of an edge. They're in possession of the home side with Kubler, the former Cologne wide man who's recovered from 2 serious injuries. At the moment, Freiburg just keeping possession inside their own half. Matthias Ginter tiptoes forward and plays the ball out to Sildilia over on the right hand side of that back 3. It does look as if Jarrod Bowen is filling that number 9 role vacated by the injured Antonio for West Ham.
Yeah, 2 people I really want to watch out for. One, obviously, is Jarrod Bowen, as you just said, got into the England squad today. You know, he'll be really buoyed and have lots of confidence. He's played really well so far this season, more so as a wide player. So can he convert that form into being that pivotal striker? We'll wait and see in that one. And Mohamed Kudos as well. You know, really want to see him in a West Ham shirt as much as possible. Did really well in match day 1. Can he have a similar impact in match day 2?
Here is Bowen coming over to the left-hand side, looking to run at Lienhardt, tries to get his cross into the area. Kudus was the furthest forward of the West Ham players, but it's been cleared away by that Freiburg back line. Aguerd comes all the way to the halfway line and heads it forward. Now it's with Paquetá over on the far touchline, and Fornals plays it against Roland Salai, the right wing back, and West Ham have a throw high up the field. They're seeing a lot of possession, the Premier League side early on. 3 minutes gone here on Talksport 2. Freiburg 0, West Ham 0. Brighton underway, away from home in the Europa League against Marseille. We'll keep you updated on the goals as they go in that one. And Rangers travelling to Limassol as well. That match is also a 5:45 kickoff. Bit of pressure here. Big foot on Mavropanos, closed down by Hola, but just about managed to clear the ball upfield. The former Arsenal man, who, like Kudus, is at the moment having to get his minutes in the cup competitions. Mavropanos.
He got away with that quickly. He tried to play a back pass and trying to look all cool on the ball, realised that a player was coming to close him down, tried to do the back pass to Fabianski and underhit it. Unfortunately, he was able to use his physical strength to make sure the striker couldn't get in front of him, but as I say, he got away with that one.
They have lost West Ham on each of their last 3 visits to Germany, including, of course, in that Europa League semi-final, their last European defeat against Frankfurt. By all accounts, there is a determination once again to go deep into the competition. David Moyes, the West Ham manager, took charge of his 900th league game at the weekend against Sheffield United. He's scribbling some early notes. That is some going, isn't it?
It's incredible, it really is. And you know, I've discussed this on Talksport many a times, how he's got a year left in his contract. He's just won a European competition, the first time in decades for the club, and yet at the moment we're not hearing of anything about it, let alone actually having it renewed, but talking about it as well. So I think the start of the season was very, very important, and the games they've had, you know, when their fixture list came out, I think were difficult, but very good wins, you have to say, against Chelsea and Brighton. And obviously they've only been beaten by Manchester City and up at Anfield.
Long raking pass forward looking for Kudus, and then there was a coming together involving Alvarez, the very combative Mexican, and Nicholas Hoffler. Hoffler's come off worse, and I think the Swedish referee has indicated a free kick for an elbow in the back by Alvarez. Missed the first game of West Ham's European season because of a suspension that was hanging over from his time at Ajax.
He's done well though, hasn't he, in the West Ham shirt? I mean, a lot of West Ham fans, myself included actually, were sort of thinking, well, when are they actually going to spend the Declan Rice money? But they were very patient, and sometimes, you know, it's a question of, yes, ideally you want to try and get them in the beginning of the pre-season, but actually the most important thing is just getting them in, and both him and James Ward-Prowse, I think, shows that the money has been very well spent. Kudus as well. Here's
Kudus turning neatly away from trouble on the edge of the Freiburg penalty area. Good round as well, tries to get the cross in, blocked by the sliding challenge from Lienhardt. It was an important piece of defending after some real silky footwork from the West Ham new boy. Here they come again with Kudus on this right hand side. 6 minutes gone. It's Freiburg 0, West Ham 0, but I think David Moyes will be delighted with the way his team have started. Here's Bowen on the edge of the area. Can he wriggle his way into a shooting position? Not quite. In the end, Lienhardt just blocked the path to goal and then clears the ball away to the right hand side of that back line. And then there's a miscue from the goalkeeper, Noah Atabulo. The ball was played back into the 6-yard box and he's completely scuffed it, and it's gone behind for a corner.
You can see though, Cookie, there's a bounce just before it, and this pitch is not a good pitch at all. It's scuffing up really quickly. But we've just seen a sliding tackle where turf really came up. We've also seen both Kudus and also Jared Bowen try and get at this defence, and it has been a really good start from David Moyes, and we'd say between the two sides, West Ham look the most dangerous.
James Ward-Prowse, unlucky. I think most people would suggest not to have his name included in the England squad released earlier today. He's about to take this corner from the left-hand side. It's a right-footed delivery. He always manages to pick the right spot, seemingly just on the corner of the 6-yard box. Freiburg clear it away, but again it was a teasing ball in from Ward-Prowse. Freiburg looking to break quickly, and Kudus, to his credit, comes scampering back, does his defensive work, and concedes to throw and stops what could have been a promising counter.
Well, it could have been, because Junior Adamu was absolutely free in the middle, And if Hula was able to just look up and try to almost hook it to him, there was no West Ham player within 5-10 yards of him. That would have been an interesting attack.
Sparta Prague have taken the lead away from home against Real Betis in Rangers Group in the Europa League. 1-0 there, 0-0 here in Germany. Since the start of last season, West Ham have won 15 of their 16 European matches.
It's been good, isn't it? As I say, without being too disrespectful, I think it shows the quality of the Europa Conference. And
is there an argument to say this is their most difficult game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Since the start of last season on the continent.
Well, I think the semi-final against Alkmaar and also the final itself against Fiorentina, they were two good sides, and you could argue that Alkmaar were the better side over the two legs, and Fiorentina played better than West Ham, but they found a way to win. They're stepping it up again in terms of playing in the Europa League.
Bowen with a cross from the right-hand side. Good delivery! And it's headed home by Paquetá. And West Ham hit the front early. And this amazing European run shows no sign of coming to an end. Jarrod Bowen once again played a massive part as the ball was played into his feet down the right-hand side by Sofal. It's a delicious ball into the area, and Paquetá with the header makes it Freiburg 0, West Ham 1.
Well, I tell you what, one that was a delicious ball, right foot, is out wide. He didn't even go past the defender, but he got the half a yard, so he was able to put it in. But what a header from Lucas Paquetá. It reminded me of Mark Haitley back in the day, an Alan Shearer type header. He's on the penalty spot, and he leaps above two defenders and gives it such power and also precision, giving the keeper no chance whatsoever. And how talented is he with the ball on the ground? To see him do that in the air, wow, amazing, and just a brilliant start for the Hammers.
And actually, it's the reward that their start to the game, full of endeavour, full of attacking intent, has deserved. They've been the better side, and Lucas Paquetá with a towering header has got David Moyes' men off to the perfect start. Opportunity here for Hola on the edge of the area, but he's put his 20-yard shot straight into the arms of Fabianski, and it remains 1-0.
Tell you what, it's been the perfect start. You're right, even without the goal, West Ham have looked more dangerous. They've kept the ball better. But that goal itself has really given them so much confidence. No fans to celebrate with, of course, but the fans, I'm sure, the people who are listening to this will be certainly celebrating, because that is a wonderful start and a wonderful header.
They are absolutely controlling this game at the moment, West Ham United. Ball out to the left, and Fornals in the red footwear. Paquetá, the goal scorer, confidence oozing through his veins, plays it back out to Fornals again. They're playing with that swagger that comes from winning a European trophy last season. They feel they deserve to be rubbing shoulders with the Continental Elite, West Ham United.
No, I totally agree with you. David Moyes has talked about it, Ollie and I talked about it just before the game, and they're used to it. It's not easy to do the Thursday-Sunday combination, but I do think in terms of Europe, they know exactly how to turn it on a Thursday night.
I'll tell you what, we've got some brilliant games this weekend. The Sunday session will be across all of them. Brighton, Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, and Midlands derby between Wolves, Aston Villa, all these on Sunday afternoon. West Ham, Newcastle, I think is a really fascinating matchup as well at the London Stadium. Newcastle on cloud nine after what happened at St James's Park last night. Can they go again at the weekend against this West Ham team who've started the season in excellent form? And here's Kudus into the penalty area, onto his left foot, shoots, the goalkeeper spilt it, and he's saved by the post. Tell you what, this goalkeeper is a shocker.
Well, he certainly is, and I think they've definitely lost a bit, Freiburg, with Mark Flecken leaving and obviously going to Brentford. He's not a safe pair of hands at all. And Kudus, it wasn't actually the best of shots. He came inside on his left foot. He should never be allowed to come inside on his left foot, not just on his strong foot, but the goal opens up. You feel it. Should have got the shot off better, been more precise, but my goodness me, keeper nearly spilled that one.
Rangers are 1-0 down away from home against Limassol in Cyprus. It goes from bad to worse for the Glasgow Giants this season, managerless and behind on their travels. West Ham in front here on Talksport 2. Lucas Paquetá with a goal, heading in a Jarrod Bowen cross after only 9 minutes. Jarrod Bowen already in the Premier League this season in 7 appearances, has 5 goals and an assist, and he has another assist this evening to crown being recalled by England earlier in the day.
I think he's been brilliant ever since he signed for West Ham, and he was scoring goals for Hull for fun. The question when I was covering the Championship as well is, why is a Premier League club not taking him earlier? I think it was the money maybe that Hull wanted, but that looks an absolute snip now, and you could argue West Ham only did it because they were in trouble, and the club realised that they needed someone like him to get goals, get them out of trouble, but he has been superb in a West Ham shirt.
I guess what's a little bit worrying for West Ham fans is that they've been in contract negotiations for some time now, as I understand it, and at the moment that new deal remains unsigned. West Ham are hopeful that they can tie Bowen down to a new contract. If they don't, teams like Liverpool and Newcastle United will be sniffing around. Actually, there's a piece about that in the transfer notebook on the Talksport website this afternoon.
Who writes that?
Can't remember now. 14 minutes gone. Freiburg 0, West Ham United 1. West Ham having made their best start to a Premier League season since your pal Alan Kirbishley was manager some 16 years ago. And a lot of people, after they sold Declan Rice, as you say, were maybe a little bit lethargic about reinvesting that money. Thought it might be a difficult start to the season. Far from it.
No, absolutely. Look, in an ideal world, you do get those players in early in pre-season so they can bed down and get to know, their teammates both on and off the pitch. The manager gets a bit of time on the training pitch, but it doesn't work like that nowadays. I'm afraid it takes time.
Freiburg have given it away again on the edge of their own area. Fornals has carried it all the way. Here's Paquetá looking for a second, and he hammers it into the roof of the net, but the flag is up for offside, and Paquetá's celebrations are cut short.
Well, this will be interesting, and I can't imagine the referee's assistant getting it wrong, and he hasn't. It is offside. Paquetá should be looking along the line, making sure, what if the ball comes to me? I've got to make sure I'm onside. He can see across the line. I mean, it was a neat finish, but it doesn't matter. He was offside. I think the bottom line is that it's been all West Ham so far in the first 15 minutes, isn't it? And we talked about David Moyes being happy with the start. Forget the goal. He'll be delighted the fact that we talked about imposing the style of play on your opposition, especially when you don't have any fans yourself. It's all Freiburg here. But on the pitch, it's all West Ham.
Despite that, the home fans are making plenty of noise, trying to urge their team back into the game. Paquetá's been caught inside the centre circle by Nicholas Hoffler, and it will be a free kick. An opportunity for West Ham to load up the penalty area. Again, it was a theatrical reaction from Paquetá. At his second goal of the season, scored from the penalty spot against Chelsea in that 3-1 win at London Stadium. On the second weekend of the campaign, James Ward-Prowse over the free kick, just plays it short to his left-hand side. David Moyes, meanwhile, has come out to the edge of the technical area. You're listening to Alex Crook and Scott Minto on Talksport 2. Live commentary of this Europa League match. Second round of fixtures. West Ham go to Olympiacos next. We'll be bringing you commentary from Athens as well. They could get the 3 points tonight. They will be set fair for a place in the knockout stages. Again, they've got a set-piece situation here, and James Ward-Prowse is slowly making his way over to take the corner.
It seems crazy to say as well, but they've been so much on top. Go for that second goal. I don't see Freiburg, what we've seen so far, been able to come back from 2-0 down. 1-0, they're still very much in the game, of course.
Ward-Prowse from the left-hand side, so again it will be a right-footed in-swinger. Paquetá trying to make a nuisance of himself right in the goal line towards that near-post area. Help back out to James Ward-Prowse. He lays it off for Kudus on the edge of the box, and now Fornals onto his left foot, dinks it over the top. Paquetá chests it down when actually maybe Ward-Prowse was in a better position, and in the end that allows Freiburg to come back and Junior Adamu to get the ball clear. There's a West Ham player down inside the box holding his face. Mavropanos it is. He looks a little bit worse for wear. In fact, there's a lot of blood coming from his face. Not exactly sure what caused it. We might get an idea from the replay. Paquetá's almost fouled himself in the end, having taken the ball away from James Ward-Prowse. Mavropanos been in a shoving match, and I think he's actually headbutted his own player, Alvarez, and that's a painful one.
That's exactly what's happened. I mean, first of all, you're right. Lucas Paquetá took the ball off James Ward-Prowse, who was just coming in behind. And Ward-Prowse needs to be shouting there for him to let it go, because that would have been an interesting, almost one-on-one situation. And then he did foul himself. But secondly, that did look painful, straight into the head of Alvarez, and there's definitely blood all around his mouth.
Second goal of the game in Rangers Group. Real Betis 1, Sparta Prague 1. Rangers still a goal down against Limassol. Another game in Group A, West Ham's group. It's Baka Topolar 0, Olympiacos 0. Of course, West Ham were behind against Topolar a couple of weeks ago before coming back to win quite handsomely in the end. Not sure that Mavropanos is quite as handsome as he once was after that collision. It's an opportunity for the Freiburg players just to regroup a bit, Scott Minto, after a lightning quick start from West Ham United.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Freiburg manager, Christian Streich, will be happy that this has happened so he can get his messages across, because so far it's just not worked at all. West Ham have been really good. There's been one shot on target for the home side, which is an easy save for Lucas Fabianski. It's been all West Ham so far, very much on the front foot, 1-0 up, deservedly so. And you get the feeling, as I say, when you're on top, it doesn't matter if you're away from home and there's only been 18 minutes played. If you feel you're on top, win the game early. They look like they're capable of doing that.
It's an interesting story. Christian Streich, the Freiburg manager who Scott mentioned there, he's been in charge since 2011. Seen off literally hundreds of managers at other Bundesliga clubs in that time. They were relegated on his watch back in 2015, but Freiburg decided to stick with the process, and they've been rewarded. They reached the last 16 of the Europa League last season, lost to Juventus over 2 legs, and actually they were in the hunt for a Champions League place right up until the last day of the Bundesliga season. They've been disappointing so far tonight in these first 20 minutes. West Ham's 1-0 lead isn't a fluke.
No, it's not. And they've been disappointing at the start of the season. The last couple of games they're coming back into it in the Bundesliga. But I think West Ham have shown that they are the experienced side in Europe, and it doesn't matter whether they're playing away from home, doesn't matter if they've got no fans at all, they're going to play their game. It's not affecting them any way whatsoever. It's been all them so far.
Mavropanos has come back on. And now attacking down the left-hand side is Lienhart, quickly closed down by Bowen. They're interchanging, aren't they, Jarrod Bowen, and at times Paquetá is going into that number 9 position.
Yeah, and I think that's important as well. As long as they're communicating with each other, it doesn't matter who's going furthest man up and who drops in. Both very comfortable, certainly in that number 10 position, and both seem pretty comfortable in the number 9 as well at the moment.
Sildilia carried the ball a long way, the right-sided centre-back, but they've gone back into their own half with Philipp Lienhart, the former Real Madrid man, the Austrian international, played alongside the likes of Gareth Bale, Cristiano Ronaldo and Karim Benzema during his time in Spain. So plenty of pedigree in that area of the field.
What an experience that is.
In position now.
On the training ground, what an experience that is for him. Tell his kids and grandkids.
Not bad company to be keeping there.
It's like I tell my kids and grandkids, I once worked with Alex Cruz.
Every time I go to Portugal, which is frequent, I ask the taxi driver, remember Scott Minto from his Benfica days?
I don't know if I want to know the answer.
I'll keep you guessing on that one. Captain Grifo has given the ball away to James Ward-Prowse just inside West Ham territory. Bowen scampering to keep West Ham in possession, and he got tripped from behind. It was a foul by Roland Salai, the Hungarian. And the Swedish referee is, I think, just going to give him a final warning here.
It's not what he needed to do. He was under pressure, Jarrod Bowen. I think it just shows exactly where Freiburg are mentally at the moment. They realised they're second best, almost all over the pitch. And when Jarrod Bowen's he was almost going to give the ball away there, but because he nicked it in front of Salai already committed to try and make a physical challenge. Again, West Ham just so much on top at the moment.
22 minutes played. You're listening to Europa League live on Talksport 2. Freiburg 0, West Ham 1. Don't forget game day returns this weekend. Luton against Tottenham. An intriguing trip to Kenilworth Rover in form Spurs. That's our 12:30 offering over on Talksport. Here on Talksport 2 we've got live and exclusive national radio commentary of Manchester United against Brentford. United in desperate need of a victory after losing 4 of their first 7 in the Premier League, back-to-back Champions League games. Certainly not going Eric Ten Hag's way, but it is going West Ham's way here. They've got a free kick. Pakatari's down. He does make the most of those challenges, the West Ham goal scorer. I mean, it is a foul, but he doesn't need to stay down, does he? Haven't been caught by Hoffler.
No, he just nicks it. He's one of those players that you almost don't want to dive in because you know he's going to nick there first, and if you catch him, he will make the most of it.
David Moyes animated inside the technical area. James Ward-Prowse purposefully dabs the ball down. Plenty of dark blue shirts to aim at, just on the edge of the Freiburg penalty area. Away to our right, Ward-Prowse with the delivery towards the far post, and Bowen must have had a call from Mavropanos. He left it. And the big centre-back gets underneath the ball and heads it wide.
Yeah, it's a great ball in, wasn't it? He's so good at set pieces, James Ward-Prowse. He whips it in there at 40 yards and the keeper still can't come out and claim it. And if Mavropanos was able to get over the ball, that would have been pretty much a free header. Round about the 6-yard box or just outside, on target. I don't think the keeper would have had a chance at all.
The orange-shirted goalkeeper Atabulo plays it deep into the West Ham half, headed away by Agger. The West Ham back four have had very little defending to do so far. Agger again with a header forward that's going to be seized upon. Is it by Kudus? He was caught. Again, it's Hoffler. And this time Kudus has gone down holding his thigh. Christian Strike glaring at the assistant referee. He clearly doesn't think it was a free kick. Scott Minto, was it?
Well,
I'm not sure it was.
He's kind of caught. It looked like it was the back of his ankle, but he's holding his thigh. And again, I think it just goes to show that West Ham are quicker to the ball. You know, they're always half a yard behind the home side, and you know the home fans are doing well to stick with them because they're seeing a team that's being completely outplayed at the moment and also outthought.
And Hoffler has picked up the first yellow card of proceedings, and that will mean that he will have to sit out the next round of group matches, having clocked up 2 yellows already. Lovely ball from Paquetá, almost nonchalant as he played that left-footed out to Aged over on the far side, midway inside the West Ham half. Here is James Ward-Prowse dropping deep. What a signing he's been at, £30 million. Here is Ward-Prowse now on the edge of the centre circle, and a little taste of European football for a couple of seasons at Southampton when they were doing so well under Ronald Koeman. In fact, I remember him playing a starring role in a victory against Inter Milan at St Mary's. That will seem a long time ago for Southampton fans, now back in the Championship.
Blimey, a lifetime ago for them.
Ball launched long upfield by Thilo Kehrer, but all the way through for the goalkeeper Atabulo.
He didn't need to do that. Sorry, Cookie, I was just going to say, he didn't need to do that. They're on top. He's just knocked a 40-50 yard ball. It's a hopeful one. Very much on top. Just keep the ball. Even if you don't go anywhere, don't force it. You know, these fans will not stick with them the whole half if they carry on playing like this. So just keep the ball, and if it's not on, just don't go for that 40-yard Hollywood pass.
It's been a difficult start to their first ever European campaign for Brighton. They're 2-0 down away from home in Marseille, having lost the first game of the group 3-2 against AEK Athens. If they were to lose tonight already, it would be looking a daunting task to qualify for the knockout stages for Roberto De Zerbi's side. A reminder, Rangers still 1-0 down away from home in Cyprus against Limassol. That would be a humiliating result for the Ibrox team. Here is Fornals running at Sildilia into the penalty area, gets the cross in, but it's too close to the goalkeeper, and Atabulo collects cleanly enough inside the 6-yard box.
Yeah, he's asking for Kudos to sort of come across the goalkeeper, but it was a poor cross in the end. But it actually started from a really poor throw, and it was Freiburg's throw. He's thrown it across the pitch, and it's come to Kudos. So, they're 6 and 7s at the moment. The crowd already starting to, or just gave a little groan. They're trying to stick behind their team at the moment, but not really giving themselves much to cheer about. West Ham's been an excellent so far. As I say, they've been on top. Really go for it. Go for that second goal.
It's a different type of game actually than West Ham have played in the Premier League this season, where they had going into the weekend the second lowest possession percent of any team in the Premier League. I think only Luton Town had less of the ball. David Moyes got quite spiky when he was asked about that ahead of that game. But they're dominating possession here, and they're dictating the pace of play.
Yeah, they are. And, I think if you're going to play that way, where you have next to no possession, you have to win the games. And to be fair, they've done really well, and they played against teams who like to have possession. So maybe against the teams where they will dominate, and they'll be happy to have the ball. They've done really well here this evening. But I definitely think there's still a section of West Ham fans who are not really happy with that style of play, and results don't go their way. We'll just give David Moyes a little bit of criticism.
No criticism so far tonight. 29 played. Freiburg 0, West Ham 1. Lucas Paquetá with a header in the 9th minute. Jared Bowen with a fantastic cross from the right-hand side. Gets another goal involvement for him this season. Of course, scored the winner, Bowen, in that Conference League final against Fiorentina, that earned West Ham their place in this Europa League. And if they were to win it, that's a long way off, but that would mean Champions League football.
I think they should have won it 2 years ago. They'll feel that. And I do think that the competition's got stronger this time around, but you never know. You never know what can happen. I thought Brighton would do quite well in this competition. They still might qualify, but they're finding it difficult, aren't they?
Just makes too many changes week in, week out, Roberto De Zerbi. You never quite know what the 11 are going to be, and I guess there's a fine balance between having a strong squad depth and just doing too much tinkering.
Yeah, I think when you get into the groove reasonably early on, you want to try and keep a settled side, and then you make some changes in the middle part of the season. Then you try and be as settled as much as possible in the final third. And who am I to tell Roberto De Zerbi how to manage and pick a team? He's certainly done really well since coming to Brighton, but I just think the combination, which goes to show even more so, well done to West Ham, the way they are able to still do well in Europe and combine the Premier League.
There's Jared Bowen back to the halfway line, and Mavropanos, the £19 million signing from Stuttgart. It's Paquetá, the goal scorer, trying to hold the ball up just inside Freiburg territory, but he's been dispossessed. They can't keep it for any prolonged period, the home team. It's back now with Nayef Aguerd, the heart of that West Ham defence that still had very little to do. Half an hour in, Kudos has left Hoffer on his backside, and Hoffer knew he couldn't dive in, having already been booked. Kudos into Paquetá, who helps it out to his left, and Kehrer. Here's Fornals now running at Sildilia down the left-hand side. Paquetá with the overlapping burst forward, gets possessed by Sildilia, and Freiburg with a chance to clear. Just not sure, Scott, that Freiburg have actually had a meaningful touch inside the West Ham penalty area yet.
No, and they've had one shot on target, which is a simple save that either you or I could have saved as well. But I just feel Lucas Paquetá, he's trying to play in second gear. He just needs to step it up a little bit. Almost it's becoming a bit too easy for him. He's given the ball away a couple of times, and there he just needed to try a little bit of skill in the final third. And I suppose if you're going to try a little bit of skill, that's the place to do it. But he's better than that. If he steps it up, I genuinely believe the way Freiburg have started this game that West Ham can get the second goal and put the game to bed almost by half-time.
We've got 14 minutes of the first half to play. Olympiacos have taken the lead in the other game in this group away from home against Topolar. Bowen, meanwhile, unable to pluck the ball down the edge of the area. Freiburg with a chance to pass their way forward. It's all been very one pace from the Bundesliga side to this point. There's the captain, Vincenzo Grifo. 17 goals in all competitions last season, 2 already this for him. atmosphere has been raucous, but at the moment the player's not really able to tap into that. It should be music to the ears of David Moyes without the away contingent that would usually accompany West Ham on their European travels. And they'll be back for the game in Athens against Olympiacos in a few weeks' time. Here's Atapullo out to the left-hand side. Lienhart deep inside the Freiburg half. Again, they've just slowed it down to a walking pace. Jarrod Bowen doing a bit of organising from the front, the focal point of that three-pronged attack. Kudos on the right-hand side. Paquetá, the goal scorer, on the left, and Pablo Fornals bursting forward in support as well.
It's just so very fluid, isn't it? Even without the ball. You know, sometimes it's Paquetá on the left, other times it's Fornals. We've seen Alvarez pushing on as well. Normally he drops in and sits in front of the back four. But Freiburg are playing at such a slow pace that it's so easy for West Ham to get the players in position. You end up just knocking the ball back to the keeper, who hits it 50 yards up in the air.
You surprised how poor they've been for a home team in Europe?
Very, very. You know, they won the game against Olympiacos.
It was a 3-2 win, wasn't it?
It was, and you're sort of thinking, wow, you know, going away from home in any game, that's a really good win, that one. So you're thinking at home, actually this is probably going to be West Ham's most difficult game. The way they're playing at the moment, it's arguably West Ham's easiest game. They've got to step it up. Surely they will in the second half.
I guess the biggest danger, as you've already alluded to, with Paquetá and one or two sloppy moments, is the complacency sets in for West Ham.
Absolutely.
Here is Eggesteiner, is to shoot by the home fans, but he was fully 35 yards out from goal, so sensibly opts to keep possession, plays it out to the far touchline, and Salai. Now Sildilia, the French youth international. For once, West Ham have got everybody in dark blue back inside their own half. Sildilia playing the ball forward to Salai, who is back to goal, has to bring it back into midfield. Kubler is in a bit of space in the far post area. They've gone into the centre. It was a poor touch from Kohler, couldn't bring it down. Best spell of the game, though, by some distance for Freiburg, keeping possession, keeping West Ham pen back, and then the cross from Roland Salai is straight into the gloves of Fabianski, and that's pretty much the goalkeeper's first touch.
Yeah, no, you're right, though. That was the best. I mean, we talk about it as the best part of the game for Freiburg, and yet they kept the ball in West Ham's final third, and yet put the cross to Fabianski. So the final ball, the quality just not been there. As I say, I've been really disappointed with the home side. It's been easy, too easy for West Ham.
Here's Mavropanos forward towards Kudus. Too strong was Philipp Lienhart. Lienhart in possession, 5 yards inside the Freiburg half, plays it into the centre circle, and Hoffler, little layoff from Adamu, and then Sildilia trying to raid down the right hand side. Sliding in was the German Kehrer. He could see to throw almost level with the West Ham 18 yard line.
I mean, he's someone who's not used to playing at left back, and yet no one's ever tried to target him, you know, and say, do you know what, okay, he's more right footed, let's try and see if we can get him down the outside, see what happens. It's been poor.
9 minutes the first half to play. Freiburg 0, West Ham 1. Paquetá's header on 9 minutes, the goal that separates the two. And here is Paquetá. Again, it was a poor pass out from the back, looking for Bowen, but Freiburg back in possession with Lienhart. Kubler comes over the halfway line and strokes the ball out to the right, where Matthias Ginter will trot forward. Now Salai. Not the ball around Kehrer, and he was caught right on the touchline. The Freiburg supporters waving imaginary yellow cards, but I think it will just be a free kick for Freiburg.
Well, there you go, though, Cookie. That's the first time that Kehrer has been run at in that position. It's a nice little nutmeg, you have to say, from Salai. They need to get the ball out on the right-hand side a little bit more and just test him. He's a good defender, but not the position he normally plays in. So why not test him?
It was only his third start of the season. Thilo Kehrer, all in cup competitions, 2 in this Europa League, 1 in the League Cup against Lincoln. As the free kick is played into the near post, good header away by Ward-Prowse, who watched it all the way, and then Bowen nods it up to the halfway line, where it's collected by the skipper, Vincenzo Grifo. just on the back foot, West Ham, for the last few minutes for the first time on the night. Below the German under-21 goalkeeper is going to launch this upfield, right-footed out to the left-hand side, headed down but away from goal by Holler.
Oh, but that just sums up Freiburg at the moment, and I have to say from a West Ham point of view I'm delighted. Atabolo just stands there on the ball for about 5-6 seconds, no trying to step up the tempo at all, and then he knocks it 50 yards ball, which is an easy header for Mavropanos. I mean, it's just, I say it's really poor from the home side. Obviously I'm delighted, but I feel almost West Ham have got sucked into it now, because the last 10 minutes they've kind of sat back and just said, well, we're leading. I actually feel if they really went for it and went for that second goal, then they could kill this game off.
And that was another criticism at times last season from West Ham fans, that they get themselves in front in games and then the default mechanism would be to sit deep and almost invite pressure, and they have done that for the last few minutes.
They have, and although the home side have not been good enough, not shown enough quality to open them up, there's only one goal in it at the moment, so it takes a bit of brilliance or great strike or a mistake from West Ham, and suddenly they're back in the game, and the whole momentum, certainly the atmosphere in the stadium, will completely change.
Here's Kudus, having latched onto the knockdown from Paquetá. Ward-Prowse over the halfway line, out to the left-hand side as we look. It's back now with Alvarez in midfield.
And look, Crookie, I'm being really sort of super critical, because, you know, it's fantastic. Would have taken this after 38 minutes. Not only West Ham 1-0 up, but in control of the game. But you feel like they're so kind of much more dominant than Freiburg, who just come out really poor in this first half. The game's there for the taking over 45 minutes, let alone the full 90.
Kera being put under pressure by Sildilia, and he's conceded a foul, I think, in the end, is it? Or is it a throw-in that's gone Freiburg's way? I just looked at the facial expression of Sildilia. I think he was annoyed that there wasn't more movement ahead of him as he looked to take a quick throw-in. Lienhardt into the centre circle for the German side. Big crowd inside the Europa Park Stadion, despite the lack of away fans, but not too much for those Freiburg supporters to get their teeth into in the first 40 minutes. West Ham leading by a goal to nil. Home team has just given the ball away cheaply on the halfway line. Sofal fizzes a pass into Alvarez. The former Ajax man does well to bring the ball under control. Here's Aguerd now at the heart of that back four. Forward it goes towards Fornals. So Dilia comes in and shanks his clearance, so it's out of play for a West Ham throw midway inside the Freiburg half.
There's not really a lot happened, has there, in the last 10-15 minutes? You know, West Ham have kind of allowed Freiburg to come back into the game, but Freiburg haven't created any chances, certainly not tested Fabianski. West Ham seem like they're quite comfortable at not trying to go for that second goal, protect the lead, so not much has happened in the last 10 or so minutes, but it's down to the home side to create something, and they're not able to at the moment.
Ward-Prowse ushering the ball out of play for a West Ham throw on that left wing. Hegestein tried his best but couldn't wrestle back possession. Thilo Kehrer takes the throw into the goalscorer Paquetá. Ward-Prowse now with a chance to deliver, but it took a deflection, his low cross, and Freiburg able again to pick up the ball on the edge of the box. Goalkeeper Atabulo launches it high up into the sky. Headed away by Mavropanos. Bowen exchanges passes inside the centre circle. He's now back with Mavropanos. Bowen dropping deep. Was he caught there? The referee says no and plays an advantage, and James Ward-Prowse, alert, got there ahead of Junior Ademo on the edge of the area, and he plays it back to the goalkeeper Fabianski.
Yeah, he did really well there, James Ward-Prowse, didn't he? Positioned himself well, so when they won the ball back and looked like they were going to go at the back four of West Ham, just nipped in there and got that really important touch.
Important few minutes at the end of the first half of West Ham. There's a big difference between going in 1-0 up and on level terms. Freiburg looking for an equaliser. Sildilia, deep cross into the West Ham box, but over the head of everybody in red. Kudus picks it up now in the right back position for West Ham United. Chance for Fabianski to get a rare touch of the ball, and his clearance booms over the halfway line. Paquetá furthest forward for West Ham, the goal scorer, and to be fair, he's forced the error from Lienhardt, whose clearance was a poor one. Here's Paquetá, crossing, looking for Kudus on the edge of the box. Bowen has made a good dart into the centre, but Kudus just ensures West Ham keep possession. It's back now inside the centre circle with Aged. Now Ward-Prowse, right in the centre of Freiburg territory. The ball played forward, I think, by Alvarez, looking for Paquetá, but didn't quite reach its intended target, and Freiburg come forward down the right. Here's Sildilia. 2.5 minutes to first half to play. Ball chipped into the West Ham box, but Aged there ahead of Ademu and just watches it behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, just forcing it there. Again, showing a lack of quality from the home side, which has really surprised me. I thought this would be a much bigger test to West Ham. And as I say, the only way West Ham are not going to come away with all 3 points, where at the start of the game I said I'd take 1. The only way they won't come away with the 3 points is if they let themselves get beaten here, because they're definitely the better side. Technically they look better, in better form. Again, Lucas Paquetá just on the ball. I want to see more from him. It's just a simple pass. It's too easy for him, but because it's too easy for him, he's actually not being at it and giving the ball away. I want to see more from him. You know he can create that second goal.
Ball launched forward by Freiburg. Goalkeeper Fabianski had a good starting position and got there ahead of Grifo. Now it's with Aged, left corner of the West Ham penalty area. Rangers still behind, away from home against Limassol. 1-0 in that game, and Brighton 2-0 down away from home against Marseille. West Ham a goal up here into the last 80 seconds of regulation time at the end of the first half, but Freiburg seeing much more of the ball now than they were for the majority of the half. At the moment, West Ham defending deep and defending well, back with Lienhart inside the centre circle. Possession still with Freiburg, with Nicholas Hoffler, plays it out to the right hand side. It's back in the home half now with Lienhart. I think West Ham content Scott Minto just to get to half time with 1-0 lead intact.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're quite happy with that. It's down to the home side to try and get that goal before half time. As I say, will completely change the complexion of the game if they can, but at the moment they certainly don't look as if they're capable of it.
There will be a little bit added on because of the facial injury that Mavropanos had at one stage. Ball is out on the far right touchline with Salai, crosses into the box, good header away again by Ward-Prowse, who let well on the edge of the box. And here's Lienhart just to keep Freiburg on the ball, but not really in an area where they can hurt their Premier League opponents. This, remember, the first time that Freiburg have ever faced English opposition in a competitive game. 3 added minutes at the end of the first half. 1-0 West Ham lead on Talksport 2. Grifo dropping deep into midfield. West Ham conserving energy, keeping in their shape, making it difficult for Freiburg to really pass their way through. Grifo again with the bright yellow captain's armband on his left forearm. Tries to chip the ball out to the right hand side, headed away for a throw in by Kehrer.
Well, first of all, I thought it'd be more than 3 minutes. I'm sure the head injury took longer than that, but just Freiburg, they're just playing so much in slow motion, and then they're just hoping for a crossfield 40-yard ball, which really cut out easily.
And here comes Paquetá over the halfway line. 4-on-4 for West Ham. Paquetá just showed too much of that to Sildilia, and here come Freiburg for a rapid counter-attack. Plenty of red shirts to aim at in the centre. Again, the cross doesn't beat the first man. Kehrer didn't make the most of that, the home team, after Paquetá had been cheaply dispossessed. And here is Kudus, sends the ball spinning out to this right hand side, and the Brazilian Paquetá will pick it up for West Ham.
Brilliant from Alvarez there. Is it in a bit of a hole? He just let the ball come across his body to come into the centre of the pitch, which meant that he just took 2 players out almost with that body movement without even touching the ball. Really composed play.
Still time for a Freiburg equaliser before half-time. They have the ball inside the West Ham penalty area. Kubler with a chance to cross to around about the penalty spot. Brilliant header away that by Mavropanos, and Kudus has quickly released Paquetá down the right. Only Bowen ahead of him at the moment. 3 against 4. Paquetá needs to pick the right pass. Slides it forward to Bowen, who is forced wide out to the right-hand side. And the pass from Paquetá really took the momentum away from the West Ham attack. They still have it, though. And Ward-Prowse has got space. Can he get the ball onto his left foot? Yes, he can. But it's his weaker foot. There's a tame shot straight into the arms of Atabulu.
Well, at least he hit the target. And I'll tell you what, if that had gone in right on half-time, then I couldn't have seen Freiburg coming back in this game. I really couldn't. But he had the opportunity to lay the ball off to Kudus. He didn't. He shot. It was on his left foot. Not the greatest of strikes. I just feel that West Ham, if they really step it up, they can open up this side at will. They've not really wanted to. Been more than content at 1-0. As you say, Cookie, it's something which certain sections of fans have not been happy with. I genuinely believe that they should come away with all 3 points and should be disappointed if they don't after the way the first half has gone.
Only a few seconds remaining of that 3 added minutes. Freiburg 0, West Ham 1. Can West Ham launch one final attack? Kehrer knocks it forward to Fornals there. Won't be time though. The Swedish referee blows for half time. Well, they may be fanless in Germany tonight, but at the moment they're not going to be pointless. West Ham United. Jarrod Bowen, on the day that he was recalled by England, he turned provider. A delicious right-footed cross for Paquetá to head home with just 8 minutes played. And that's the goal, Scott Minto, that gives West Ham a half-time lead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been more than comfortable for West Ham. Delighted to see how the first half has gone. And if anything, it seems crazy to say that maybe David Moyes should be thinking they should be 2 up. It's just been so easy. Freiburg, we thought, after them winning match day 1 in Greece, that this would be the tough tie in the group stages for West Ham. But I've got to say, the way that first half has gone, West Ham haven't needed to get into 4th, 5th gear, almost been in 2nd gear, and if anything, I think it's been too easy for them at times.
And well, the message from David Moyes as he speaks to his players, addresses the players in the dressing room: go out and start the second half in the vein that you started the first, maybe get an early goal and put this tie to bed.
I think so, because all the while it's 1-0. I cannot believe that Freiburg would be this bad in the second half the way they were in the first half, so I wouldn't be surprised if Christian Streich actually makes some changes, whether it's to the personnel or the system, but he has to do something because they've not been able to break down West Ham at all. It's been too easy for the back four, and Kehrer is playing left back. That okay, he's a full back and he can play anywhere across the back four, but I still feel that he can be got at. One time where it tried to and he gave away a foul, but yeah, I just feel that David Moyes would be delighted with that. And what I don't want is somehow Freiburg to come better in the second half, West Ham under pressure, concede a goal, and they come away with just 1 point or no points at all, when actually they definitely should be coming away with all 3.
In the other game in this group A, it's Baka Topolar 0, Olympiacos 1. That's good news for West Ham, means they'll be 3 points clear at the top of the group as it stands. The Hammers leading 1-0 away from home in Germany. In Group B, Brighton 2-0 down against Marseille, 2 down very early on in that one. And what about this in Group C? Rangers, managerless Rangers, 1-0 down against the Minnows of Cyprus, Aris Limassol. So a difficult night so far for Stephen Davis in caretaker charge of the Ibrox Giants. All the half-time scores on the way shortly. You are listening to Talksport 2, half-time in Germany. It's Freiburg 0, West Ham 1.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the English Football League.
After the longest day, it's time for the night out that you'd totally forgotten about. Yay! So let the new mood-boosting fragrance of Radox refreshing eucalyptus and citrus scent shower gel revive you. Now get out there whilst fully intending to be back in bed by 10. Feel refreshed with Radox.
With Morrison's More Card, you can now earn double points on fuel, which is 10 points per litre. So that's more filling up on points when you fill up on fuel. Download the Morrison's More app today.
More reasons to shop at Morrison's.
Majority of stores. T's and C's apply. See in store or online for details. Ends 15th of October.
Sometimes you just need to get away. And for the Agarwal family, it was well overdue. They wanted to know exactly what they were getting, like knowing their kids stay and eat a delicious breakfast for free.
Yes.
And no need to lug heavy bags, with free parking at over 500 hotels. Enjoy the same feeling whatever the trip. Premier Inn. Rest easy. Only available to book at premierinn.com. T's and C's apply. Up to 2 kids stay and eat breakfast free with a full paying adult.
Hey, you're back. I'm almost finished.
Yep, and I've got Subway.
Thanks. Wait, how did you know my order?
Oh, I just got you a big cheesesteak sub-melt from the series menu.
The menu? Is that really how you think of me? An off-the-rack kind of guy?
No, I just thought you'd like it. It's cheesy, meaty, it's got peppers. You like peppers? Try it.
That's really good. What cookie did you get me?
Try the irresistibly cheesy range of hot press sub-melts, part of the new series menu. There's now 2 ways to Subway.
Save right now with the Wix Lifestyle Kitchen and Joinery event and shop offers on kitchen units, doors, timber, flooring and more. Plus, as a Wix Trade Pro member, you'll save an extra 10%. Shop the Wix Lifestyle Kitchen and Joinery event in-store or online at wix.co.uk.
Tickets! Get your tickets! Arsenal, Chelsea, Leeds, Manchester United, Spurs and more. Home games and all the goals scored. Don't be shy, only takes a minute to win it.
It's Cadbury FC's biggest football ticket giveaway ever, plus thousands of other prizes to be won every game week. Just buy a promotional pack to get your match minute. If a goal's scored in that minute, you win. Enter today at matchtheminute.cadburyfc.com. T's and C's apply.
Is this a wind-up? It has to be a wind-up.
Apart from the birth of my children, this is the best phone call I've ever received in my life.
This is what it sounds like when people win big with the National Lottery. Will you be next? The National Lottery. It could be you. Rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
Talksport 2. Traffic and travel.
In Nottinghamshire, the M1 northbound has 3 lanes closed after a collision involving a lorry between Nottingham at junction 26 and Hucknall junction 27. South Yorkshire, the M1 southbound is partly blocked after a collision between Rotherham at junction 35 and junction 34 at Meadowhall. And in Essex, long queues on the clockwise M25 after a collision earlier between junction 27 for the M11 and 28 for the A12. I'm Adam Moore.
Turbocharge your Saturday with Game Day. It's the ultimate heavy-hitting Premier League experience.
And it's in! Exclusive rights to 2 massive Saturday games.
Luton Town versus Spurs.
Kick-off, 12:30.
On Talksport.
That's a superb goal!
Followed by Manchester United versus Brentford.
Kick-off, 3 p.m.
On Talksport 2.
It's in!
Supersize your Saturday.
Game Day. This Saturday.
On Talksport and Talksport 2.
On DAB+, online, via the Talksport app and on your smart speaker.
Europa League live on Talksport 2.
Will be West Ham, all in dark blue, shooting from left to right in this first half, who get us underway. Freiburg, 5th in the Bundesliga, and across from the right-hand side. Good delivery, and it's headed home by Paquetá. And West Ham hit the front early. Here's Kudus into the penalty area, onto his left foot, shoots. The goalkeeper spilt it, and he's saved by the post. Tell you what, this goalkeeper is a shocker.
I just feel that West Ham, if they really step it up, they can open up this side at will. I genuinely believe that they should come away with all 3 points and should be disappointed if they don't after the way the first half has gone.
Exit Freiburg 0, West Ham 1. Yes, West Ham, a goal to the good in Germany at half-time. Lucas Paquetá with the early header. They coasted through much of that first half. Paquetá also had a second, narrowly disallowed for offside. David Moyes will want the goal early in the second half to put this game to bed. A reminder, Brighton 2-0 down away from home against Marseille, also in the Europa League. And Rangers in crisis. They're 1-0 down away from home against the Minnows of Limassol in Cyprus. Okay, coming up this weekend, TalkSport brings you live Premier League action. Saturday, 12:30, Luton Town take on unbeaten Tottenham. Luton 17th in the Premier League, looking for their first ever Premier League win at Kenilworth Road. Ahead of the game, TalkSport's Ian Abrahams has been speaking to Luton Town striker Carlton Morris.
Carlton, big game coming up against Spurs, who, to be honest, a lot with a lot of headlines this season.
Yeah, they've obviously started the season really positively, but we feel confident that we can match anyone at Kenilworth Road on our day.
How are you enjoying? I mean, you're top scorer here. You've obviously got off the mark. You're firing. How much are you enjoying the Premier League? And is it all it's cracked up to be?
Yeah, honestly, it is like the best league in the world in my opinion, and it's a different level to what I've experienced before. But I humbly back myself to be able to stand up to the level, and so far I've been doing okay, and I'm just looking to continue that.
Better than okay. I mean, you went on some kind of journey to get here from Norwich, round and about MK Barnsley. I mean, you backed yourself every single time. Yeah, it's character building. Obviously, being at that many clubs and having that many moves and that many different moving days, it catches up with you. But to be honest, I've found a bit of a more of a long-term home now, and I'm thriving under it. I don't know if the opening 2 or 3 games were, sort of like I'm in the Premier League and getting used to it and just enjoying it for being there. But now you are. You've got a serious job to do, which is stay in it. Yeah, 100%. We've got to stick to game plans. That the gaffer and the staff work incredibly hard. They do a lot of analysis. All right, mate. Yeah. They're doing a lot of analysis and stuff, and we just need to execute that game plan when it comes to it on Saturday. Last one. A lot of people have written off the 3 teams who came up because it's taken them a while to get wins. You got one last Saturday against Everton. Burnley got one against you in midweek. In terms of what other people are saying, do you care? I don't listen to a lot of it, in all honesty, but I know there's some people that do, and they use that as motivation, which is good. There's a lot of times that you've got to manifest it and use it to your advantage. So that's what a few of the lads do. It's not what I do per se, because I don't really listen to noise all that much. I focus on my job.
That was Luton striker Carlton Morris speaking ahead of Talksport's live and exclusive commentary of Luton against Spurs, 12:30 this Saturday on game day. Reshmin Chowdhury, as always, your host. Commentary from Sam Matterface and the former England striker Dean Ashton. And if you check out Talksport's YouTube channels from tomorrow, we'll also have an exclusive sit-down interview with the Luton manager Rob Edwards. Now, of course, this is the last round of Premier League fixtures before the international break. England take on Australia in a friendly, and then Italy after that. The squad was announced earlier today. Jarrod Bowen has made the goal for West Ham tonight, amongst those recalled by Gareth Southgate. And Talksport's England correspondent Faye Carruthers sat down with Southgate earlier this afternoon.
Gareth, it only feels like yesterday that we were talking in a tunnel at Hampden Park, and here we go again in October. Looking at the squad, not too many changes, most of them in fact all of them enforced, but some big players back as well. How did the conversations with Jarrod Bowen and Ollie Watkins go, because they've been in such fantastic form over the last few weeks?
Yeah, I haven't actually spoken to them yet. I've left that for their club managers to do. It's always a nice thing, I think, for a club manager to be able to do. So I know we know both the players well. We've worked with them before, and they're both in good form. So although we feel continuity is a good thing, it's what's helped us to build a very strong team bond. We always want opportunity for players that are doing well as well, and I think also with the injuries to Eze and Callum Wilson, there has been a space there as well. Yeah, difficult for some players to break in, as we discussed last time, and one of those that we spoke about again was James Ward-Prowse, who's had a brilliant start to life at West Ham, and there's going to be a lot of Hammers fans, as there always are, asking why he hasn't been included in the squad when other players who you regularly call up but maybe aren't getting as many minutes are. What's the reason for that? Well, it depends who they're comparing and who they're saying we should leave out, really. But we had, as you said, not so long ago, 2 very good performances. We left Hampden Park on the back of a really good performance, and we didn't really feel that area of the pitch was one we were looking to change. We know Prowse inside out. He was our captain at under 21 level, so we love the boy. We're very conscious if we have any issues, then he's a great guy that can come in and do a job. There's no question about that. That left back position seems to be a constant headache in terms of injuries, but you have got
Levi Colwill, who's playing regularly for Chelsea at left back, which is great. We know the job that Kieran Trippier can do. Is there anyone else that you've got your eye on as well, in case that does become a problem come next summer?
Well, we're clearly, there's Tyreek Mitchell, if you're looking at the Premier League, Dan Burn, Ashley Young is still playing. Rico Henry, of course, looks like he's out for the season as well. So there aren't many left-footed left-backs. We feel that Kieran, we know, can do a strong job there for us. Levi is doing well there. There are other centre-backs who can play in full-back areas, and at the moment that we feel is probably the best solution to that problem.
That's Gareth Southgate speaking to Talksport after announcing his latest England squad. They take on Australia in a friendly at Wembley and Italy in a qualifier for the European Championships. Both of those games live on Talksport. Stuart Pearce, Three Lions legend, amongst the commentary team. Very quickly, Scott Minto, as the teams come back out in Germany. Freiburg 0, West Ham 1. James Ward-Prowse, we love the boy, says Gareth Southgate. Clearly not enough to recall him to the squad. Jordan Henderson is in the squad, despite the fact he's playing in front of 900 people in Saudi Arabia. Calvin Phillips is in the squad, despite the fact he barely kicks a ball for Man City. Is James Ward-Prowse's England career over?
I'm not sure if it's actually over, but I think I don't know what more he has to do. You've just absolutely just talked about the two players that are in, and he's saying that they don't need to change it, where you've given good evidence there to say, well, do they justify themselves being in the England squad? There's no doubt about it, it's because of what they've done in the past, but I just think this is a really important year where Gareth Southgate needs to pick the form players. Yes, of course, there's a balance between what players have done for the manager, but also I think he's been so good that he should have been in this England squad, even just to take a look at. I think Jordan Henderson, if he said, look, you're not going to be in it for this particular squad, or even Calvin Phillips as well, then I don't think they would have really minded. They certainly would have understood.
Well, we are ready to get back underway here. The Freiburg formation at kick-off is interesting. They've got 8 players, Freiburg, lined up on the halfway line, and they have restarted proceedings in their red and white shirts, red shorts and red socks, shooting from left to right. West Ham all in dark blue, leading by a goal to nil. They're attacking the goal away to our left. There has been a change for the home side. Ritsu Doan, who scored against Germany for Japan in the World Cup in Qatar, he's come on for Junior Ademu, so a change in personnel at the top end of the pitch. I'll run you through both lineups in just a moment, because Freiburg are attacking and the ball has been hoisted clear by Agerd inside the D on the edge of the box. And here's Mavropanos forward to Kudus for West Ham. Over the halfway line he comes, the Ghanaian international, and then back to Mavropanos. So Freiburg now with Atabulo in goal, Sildilia, Ginter and Lienhardt their back three, as it was in the first half. Salai and Kubler are the wing-backs, Egerstein and Hoffler in midfield. Now Doan and Grifo, the captain, either side of Hola in attack. Is Sofal for West Ham. Marauding down the right-hand side, his cross is headed clear, only as far as Kudus on the edge of the area. He tries to put it into the box, and Sildilia gets enough of the ball to clear it back into the centre of the Freiburg half. West Ham with Fabianski between the posts. Sofal, Mavropanos, Aged and Kerr are the back four. Ward-Prowse and Edson Alvarez in front of them. Kudus Paquetá, the goal scorer, on 4 nows. Then behind Jarrod Bowen as the false number 9. 2 minutes gone in the second half. Freiburg 0, West Ham 1. I guess David Moyes might expect a reaction from the home side in these early stages.
Yeah, but, from kick-off, they've got 8 players along the line. And what do they go and do? They pass it back and then don't even just hump it long. Freiburg have been really disappointing in the first half. The home fans must be disappointed. This is a game that West Ham really should be coming away with all 3 points. And if they get their attitude right and really go for that second goal, they'll kill Freiburg off.
Edson Alvarez has just been shown the first West Ham yellow card of the night, grabbing Roland Salai to the ground. 1 booking apiece. 1-0 West Ham lead. Chance for the home team to load up the penalty area from this free kick, which is dicked in by Grifo. Easily volleyed away, left-footed by Kudus, though it wasn't a great delivery. And the goalkeeper, Atabolo, comes all the way out to the edge of the centre circle, and Freiburg keep possession with Grifo, their captain.
You know, in many ways, Crookie, I've talked about how West Ham, I feel, need to step it up again and try and go for that second goal, but it's almost been the perfect European away performance. They've looked solid at the back, they've not really given away many chances, and, you know, they have looked dangerous at times, and that goal that was disallowed in the first half, I'm not sure if that didn't come off the defender, so therefore, that's the wrong decision.
Yeah, Paquetá thought he'd helped himself to his and West Ham's second. Sure, David Moyes will have plenty to say on that if West Ham don't go on and win this game. But they are leading at the moment. A reminder, the other game in this group, Olympiacos a goal up away from home against Topola. There is VAR in the Europa League, so they will have had a look at that. Here's an opportunity for an equaliser. Brilliant save by Fabianski, and then surely it's going to be lashed in on the rebound. Roland Salai denied initially by Fabianski, but there was no stopping him at the second attempt, and West Ham United concede 4 minutes into the second half. Freiburg 1, West Ham 1.
Oh, and this is what I talked about, how much in control they were in the first half, and should have gone for that second goal, which they clearly didn't. And then you knew they were going to try and step it up, Freiburg, because they couldn't have been that poor in the second half. And the first real time they've gone forward, a couple of really good blocks, one save from Fabianski, in fact 2 saves from Fabianski. But then Salai, no one's got close to him there at all, and he's less than 6 yards out. Fabianski's still able to get a touch on it, but he's hit it with such power, he's not able to keep that out. There's nothing the more the West Ham goalkeeper can do. Just really disappointing for being so much in control in the first half. Now, the home side and the home crowd will feel they can go on and win this game.
And suddenly, West Ham's 16-match unbeaten run in European competition is under threat in Germany. I mean, Fabianski did all he could to keep the 1-0 lead intact. Paquetá reacting angrily there after being fouled by Salah. That's becoming a bit of a running battle. 2 in 2 games now, Salah in the Europa League this season, having got the score sheet against Olympiacos on match day 1. David Moyes looking much more animated, the West Ham manager. 1-1 on Talksport 2.
Yeah, and the crowd have just taken it up another level or two as well, haven't they? And as I say, hardly did anything in the first half, Freiburg. West Ham in so much in control, and now it's the home side on the attack again.
Here's Doan, the Japanese international, running at Kehrer. Dancing feet from Doan. Picks out Salai. Salai with a shot straight into the gloves of Fabianski.
Got to be careful now, West Ham. The next 5 minutes, to get that ball back, keep it under control, make the passes. There's no doubt about it. His home side now believe they're very much on the attack, and it's a decent save in the end from Fabianski. It's a simple one he should have made, but there's no doubt about it. The psychology of the game has completely changed.
Great skill by Paquetá there, flicking the ball over the head of Doan and then launching it left-footed forward to Bowen. Cross came Matthias Ginter, the 51 times capped German international, to knock the ball out for a throw. Freiburg 1, West Ham 1. West Ham in front early in the first half. Paquetá with a header, but they've conceded early in this second 45. Here is Fornals. The ball played back into the centre circle. Mavropanos picks it up for West Ham, just trying to wrestle back some semblance of control after a first half of almost total domination. But they couldn't make it tell with the second goal, and I guess we always suspected that Freiburg would react after the break. So far back inside his own half. In the end finds the goalkeeper Fabianski. Fabianski's had to sit and watch in the Premier League this season after Alphonse Areola was promoted to number 1. Not much he could do in the end to prevent that Freiburg equaliser, having made a good save initially from Salai before the ball eventually came back to the Hungarian and he blazed it into the roof of the net.
Yeah, he made 2 good saves there, didn't he? And obviously he would have wanted to keep a clean sheet, as you say. Not the number 1 goalkeeper anymore, but he is playing in the European competition. Couldn't have done anything with that.
Bagatard trying to play a 1-2 with Bowen, but whereas it was all coming off for West Ham early in the first half, it's not quite so easy now. Nowhere near as easy, in fact. Doan with the ball forward. Steered clear by Aguerd, the Moroccan international. Now James Ward-Prowse. Out to Sofal, who races forward down the right wing. Bowen dropping into midfield. And then trying to pick out Fornals in the area. The pass was overcooked. He's behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, it was never going to make that. Jared Bowen just forcing it. And starting the second half now. He's not really been able to touch the ball, so he's dropping off a lot more. It's almost like there's no striker, an extra man in midfield, but they certainly need to just get hold of the ball. It's been talk about the perfect start for West Ham in the first half. It's the perfect start for Freiburg in the second, and just really disappointed because it felt that they were there for the taking in the first half and knew they wouldn't be as bad in the second.
That's the voice of Scott Minto, former West Ham left back. Enjoyed watching his old club for much of the first half, but not quite so in the second. Pascal Gross has got a goal back for Brighton. Marseille 2, Brighton 1 in the Europa League tonight. Rangers still behind against Limassol in Cyprus. If this is an audition for Stephen Davis to get the job on a full-time basis, it's not going particularly well. I did hear a whisper earlier today from a contact that Frank Lampard has now been interviewed for the vacant post at Ibrox.
Interesting.
Here come Freiburg again. Ball chipped forward towards Sildilia, and he heads it across the face of goal, off the bar, and then blazed over by Hola. What a chance for Freiburg to take the lead. And how has Lucas Hola not hit the back of the net?
Wow, what an opportunity that was. First of all, Sildilia, he hits the post with his header at the far post. It kind of just loops down, bounces out, and Hurler's 5 yards out. And yes, it's bounced quite high and he's got West Ham defenders sort of jumping at him. But he's got to keep that on target. And my goodness me, from being an absolute control, 1-0 up, it's 1-1 and could easily be 2-1 down.
That is a shocker of a miss and a let-off for West Ham United. Suddenly that Fabianski goal is living a charmed life. There's a mistake though by Ginter, passing the ball straight out of play for a West Ham throw. They've got to up the intensity again here, West Ham.
Absolutely.
Rediscover the energy that they had for much of that first half.
You know, they've finished they've started the second half, and they finished the first, West Ham, and you just knew Freiburg would have to step it up. Not just in terms of there be a personnel change, but everyone's going to have to step it up an extra 10, 15, 20%. And West Ham very lucky not to go 2-1 down there. That's a big miss from the striker.
I think it was Kehrer who threw himself in the way of the shot. Maybe that just caused a bit of indecision, but I would have expected to pick out the roof of the net there. Certainly put his foot through it, Hola.
Well, the worrying thing was that the ball, first of all, to the far post is Sildilia, who's completely free. And he got the header and he kind of looped it over Fabianski. It hit the post. Everyone's running towards the goal. It bounces out. And yeah, Hurley, of course, you know, again, it's a technical shot. He's got to try and keep over it. He's got a defender throwing himself at him. You have to hit the target there. And if you hit the target, it's going in.
Just looking at the options that David Moyes has available in terms of utilising his subs bench. Danny Ings maybe could come on and play as a number 9. Bowen perhaps dropping back into a roll out wide. Ben Rama scored in the Conference League final, hasn't had much of a look in this season. He's also on the bench. Thomas Souček maybe to come and stiffen it up in midfield. They do have options, Scott Minto.
Yeah, there's Cornet as well. They do. And even Emerson at left back. I think he's actually done really well in the end of last season and this season. Unless he's picking up some kind of injury. I'd rather see left backs playing left back rather than someone who's not quite used to that position on the other side.
Here come Freiburg again. Salah, the goal scorer, plays it out to the left. Salah gets it back 15 yards from goal. The referee almost got in his way, but he's still managed to find a teammate in the penalty area, has he? No. Well done, Mavropanos stepped across the line and just ushered the ball behind for a goal kick for West Ham, a chance for the visitors to breathe again.
Yeah, and it was good defending, but the point is that Freiburg now are very much on the attack. It's not a question of just trying to get back into the game. They're very much going to try and win this now.
Olympiacos have gone 2-0 up in the other game in this group against Baka Topola. I think it's pretty clear who the whipping boys are going to be. It's going to be a fascinating battle between the other three for those top two spots and places in the last 16. Here's Kudus trying to race towards the penalty area. Ward-Prowse keeps it alive. Fornals, poor touch on the edge of the box, and Sildilia steps in and runs clear for Freiburg. It's not been a great night for Pablo Fornals overall. Trying to stake his claim for a place in the starting 11 in the Premier League. Here's James Ward-Prowse again. Out to Bowen. At the moment, Kudus is playing in the centre forward role. Bowen's out on the right hand side, Paquetá on the left.
Yeah, I think you're right about Fornals though. It's one of those where you're not playing in the Premier League, so you want to try and make an impression, but you get the feeling if David Moyes does want to go on and try and win this game, he's the one coming off. You would think Ben Ram would be the one coming on. Maybe Danny Ings is that proper number 9. He's certainly giving it a go with Kudus up there now.
59 minutes gone. Freiburg 1, West Ham 1. Foul on Alvarez, but the referee says play on because West Ham are still in possession. Paquetá dropping deep and hammering his pass straight against Salai. He started the game really well. Paquetá got the goal, and slowly but surely mistakes began to creep into his play.
I think he's too sloppy. Sometimes he thinks it's too easy. You can't play, certainly not in the Premier League, but even in the Europa League at the pace at second gear. Not been good enough.
Neat turn from Hoffler, gets away from Alvarez, out to Doan. He's made an impression since coming on, the Japanese. Mavropanos there to win it back for West Ham on the edge of the area, promptly gives it straight away. And here is Grifo, who will just try and slide it forward to Doan, intercepted by Fornals. Good play from him on this occasion. And a little Rabona pass from Paquetá. Again, probably over-egged it a bit, and then he's been brushed off the ball. And Hola has it back for Freiburg, 1-1.
He's got to be stronger there. He's got to be stronger. It looks like he doesn't want to break sweat. Well, okay, yeah, technical ability, brilliant. He's now got these Freiburg players who are chomping at the bit around him. And even in the first half where they were playing badly, again, he was just giving away the ball. It seems strange to say, he got the goal, and he could argue the second goal should have counted. Apart from that, he's just giving the ball away.
61 minutes gone. Honours even at the moment in Germany. West Ham United moving on to 4 points in the group as it stands. And actually Freiburg unbeaten in the group stage of this competition since losing to Sevilla way back in 2013. That's a run of 7 matches. Here's Bowen into the area. Can he get a shot off? Bowen saved by the keeper at the near post. Trying to do it all on his own and very nearly fired West Ham in front.
Yeah, he did. Really good play from Jared Bowen, playing now in the position that he really likes, coming in off the right, and then he just cuts inside. Really unlucky. Has a shot. He kind of side foots it. I think going for the far post, but it doesn't go towards the far post. It's straight at the keeper. It's a simple save in the end. It's the first time in the second half though West Ham have looked dangerous. Need to see more of that.
It's interesting, speaking to a couple of West Ham fans before the game when the team lineups were announced, they were intrigued to see how this experiment with Bowen in the number 9 position worked, because they made the point that whenever Mikel Antonio hasn't been there as the focal point, whoever's filled that role, they just haven't looked the same team.
I agree, and whatever you say about Mikel Antonio with his injury problems and his age as well, I think when he's fit and firing, he's not only a really good player, but the club and the team really miss him when he's not playing. And Danny Ings hasn't stepped up, hasn't looked like a great substitute for him. And then you're asking wide players to play in that position, and it's not an easy role to play.
With that in mind, and the fact they got over 100 million quid for Declan Rice, are you surprised they didn't invest in an out-and-out number 9? They were very interested, I know, at one stage in El Nassiri at Sevilla.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they must have looked at a few of them. Maybe just thought the ones they wanted were too much money, but can't keep on relying on Mikel Antonio. There's been a lot of strikers that have been brought to the club, and yet Mikel Antonio seems to be the go-to guy all the time.
And it's almost been a curse of that number 9, isn't it? Much like Chelsea have suffered. trying to find that centre forward to replace Didier Drogba. West Ham have gone through a few of their own. 63 minutes gone here. You're listening to Talksport 2 in the company of Alex Crook and Scott Minto, the former West Ham and Benfica left-back. FA Cup winner with Chelsea, of course. And it's 1-1 between Freiburg and West Ham. Brighton 2-1 down against Marseille. Also in the Europa League, they were 2-0 down at half-time. Pascal Gross has pulled one back. And what about this? Aris Limassol 2, Rangers 0. Don't think Stephen Davis is going to get that job. Free kick for Freiburg. Clumsy challenge by Kehrer, who has looked, when he's been put under pressure, as if he is playing out of position. It was a foul on Salai, the Freiburg goal scorer.
Yeah, it's a very subtle difference, just your body shape. Still full-back, but your body shape is completely turned around. And the times that he has been run at, he has looked a little bit shaky.
Just getting a word in his shell, Kehrer from Aged. It's basically a whole new back four tonight. It's probably the one area of the pitch where you don't really want to tinker too much.
No, you don't. You want that to be consistent. You know, as I say, if they blow this, it's because they didn't go for that second goal in the first half.
Freiburg 1, West Ham 1. Free kick swung into the near post, headed across the face of goal by Hoffler, and then coming into the far post, Lienhardt just kicked thin air.
Well, West Ham can count themselves lucky there. They didn't make a proper connection of it. It's one of those where if he does and gets it across goal, no defender wants to stick his leg out because he's facing his own goal. The strikers love it, they're facing the goal. So got away with that one.
They're currently 8th in the Bundesliga, Freiburg, 6 points off top spot, currently being held by Bayer Leverkusen, actually not Harry Kane's Bayern Munich, but you would expect that to change over the course of the season. They finished just outside the Champions League places last term. Here's Kudus with a cross for West Ham. Bowen lurking and couldn't make clean contact with a header. It's actually an excellent piece of defending by Ginter, facing his own goal and conceding the corner. Brave play for the Freiburg centre-back to get in the way of Jarrod Bowen.
Yeah, really good defending, because Bowen gets up early there and he actually wins the header, but he's not able to get a really good connection on it, so it comes off a defender's head. You get the feeling if Mikel Antonio was there at the far post.
That could have been a different outcome. He'd love a goal, wouldn't he, on the day that he was recalled by Gareth Southgate. Jarrod Bowen. They've got a corner here, West Ham, their third of the evening. James Ward-Prowse has whipped in a couple of teasing ones already. Again from the left-hand side, again swung in, and this time headed it off the bar by Naif Aged. And West Ham United back in front. James Ward-Prowse with the scintillating delivery from the set piece, and it's a towering header off the underside of the bar and in. Naif Aged with his second goal of the season to make it Freiburg 1, West Ham 2.
Well, we've talked about before, haven't we, the quality that James Ward-Prowse puts in there, but we've also talked about the goalkeeper Otto Bulut. It's inside the 6-yard box, and yet Agard makes the jump, and he gets higher than the goalkeeper, who's looking like Superman with kryptonite.
Well, we said in the first half, I think my exact phraseology was, this goalkeeper's a shocker, and I think he's just proved it there. And Freiburg's loss is very much Naif Aged's and West Ham's gain. 66 minutes gone, and the Conference League champions are back in front on German soil, and that long unbeaten run all of a sudden is back in their sights once more.
Look, I'll take that. I don't care whether the goalkeeper's good or not. You know, West Ham getting the goal, and it was a whipped-in ball, but every goalkeeper should be looking at that and thinking, I have to claim that. If I can't catch it, I'm going to punch it. And how on earth can Agard get a higher up than the goalkeeper who's able to use his hands?
What I like about James Ward-Prowse, and I've watched him for more years than I care to remember, is that whenever he takes a set piece, be it a free kick or a corner, he always asks a question of the back line. You don't see him hitting the first man. There's always defending to be done.
It's a really good point. How often do you say, you know, this is going to be important, and then it does hit the first man? And you're right, even though the goalkeeper should have claimed that or at least got a punch on it, he was asking the question, are you good enough? Can you handle these crosses coming in with whip and pace? And clearly the answer was no. Great header, you have to say, for Maguire. That's very brave, knowing that he could get a punch in the face.
68 minutes gone. Freiburg 1, West Ham 2. The Hammers back in control as Ward-Prowse finds Sofau down the right. Now they have to go and get the third goal, kill off this Freiburg fight back in the second half. Kudus out to the left, and it's controlled brilliantly and nonchalantly by Paquetá.
No, but don't do that, I'm sorry. I mean, it was a great bit of skill, but you do that when you're 3-0 up, not when you're 2-1 up. I've seen too much of that from Paquetá. It's not a training game, it's a very important Europa League match. You're 2-1 up, you've got away with it really, you've not been the better side in the second half, you should have killed off the game in the first. Just think his mentality shows he wants to play at 5 miles an hour and everyone else is playing at 15, 20, 25.
Will that frustrate David Moyes, little party tricks like that when you're trying to see out the game?
It will. We know David Moyes is quite a conservative manager and he wants to try and see the game out. So look, I mean, at least he's done it in the right place. He's done it in the final third. I just don't think you need to be doing that when you're a little bit fortunate to be 2-1 up.
Still a quarter of the game to go. It's West Ham narrowly in front. Elsewhere in Europe tonight, elsewhere in this Europa League competition, Brighton were 2-0 down at half-time, remember, against Marseille. Pascal Gross pulling a goal back early in the second half. It's 2-1 still to the French side. And it's Aris Limassol 2, Rangers 0 in Group C of the Europa League. And Olympiacos have had their lead halved by Baka Topolar. It's 2-1 to the Greeks in the other game in Group A, which is West Ham's group of which they're currently sitting pretty at the top with this 2-1 lead, having won their first trophy in 43 years by claiming last season's Conference League title.
No, you keep getting that wrong, Crookie. It's 24 years, the Intertoto.
I was worried there for a moment. There are a couple of changes in the offing, by the way, for West Ham, and certainly Thomas Souček is one of the players who'll be coming on, just to add fresh legs in that midfield area. He's actually found a bit of goal-scoring form, Souček, this season. 3 in his last 4 appearances, having dried up on that front last year.
To be fair to him, I think the fact that Alvarez has come in meant that he's playing a little bit further forward. It's almost been like a 4-1-4-1 at times. So he is able to get in, and that's where he's better. I think Declan Rice always was showing what a team player he was by sometimes just holding in front of the back four and trying to allow Thomas Souček to get forward. But now Alvarez is there, he definitely can do that more times than perhaps over the last couple of seasons.
He's come on for Fornals, as Scott Minto predicted. That Fornals night may come to a premature end, and I guess you kindly called this one as well. Emerson on at left back for Kehrer. So it's going to be more like a 4-3-3 now, isn't it, with Ward-Prowse, Alvarez and Souček all in midfield.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see that at all. I think Emerson, as I say, I think has done really well in the last sort of 12 months in the West Ham shirt. I like him. He's a good athlete, and he's left-footed, a left-footed left back. I like to see that.
Always helps, doesn't it?
It does. I think
underappreciated role, that of left back.
Of course it is. It's the most important on the pitch.
Here's Ward-Prowse for West Ham, just inside his own half. Emerson involved straight away. Now Paquetá hugging the left touchline, links up with his fellow Brazilian Emerson. He's tried the little back heel, which Paquetá has beaten Doan to. He's just stronger in the challenge there, as he then tripped on the floor as he manages to keep possession. Paquetá. And it's all the way back now with Fabianski on the edge of the West Ham penalty area.
Yeah, and what he's done as well by taking off Fornals, who I think was the least effective of the forward players, and adding Souček. So you're 2-1 up away from home. You're adding that little bit of solidity in midfield. So he won't be asked to bomb on. It's not a goal they need to get. Of course, they'd love to get that third goal now, and that would kill the game off. But definitely need to take control in midfield. And if Freiburg do get on the attack, then you trust Thomas Souček more than you would Pablo Fornals. That's not to say that Fornals doesn't get back, but you know what I mean in that midfield.
And while the game day returns this weekend, 12:30 kickoff live and exclusive to national radio commentary of Luton against Tottenham. That's followed at 3 o'clock here on Talksport 2 by Brentford's trip to Manchester United. 2 big Premier League commentaries coming your way. West Ham don't play again until Sunday at home to Newcastle. You'll be able to hear how they get on during the Sunday session, which comes live from the Emirates. The big game of the weekend, Arsenal against Manchester City. We're going mob-handed, myself, Sam Matterface and Perry Groves, who's going to be a nervous wreck for the afternoon watching that one.
Some game at the London Stadium as well.
Yeah, some huge games this weekend. Be interesting to see how Ange Postecoglou's Spurs adapt to the rickety old surroundings at the Kenilworth Road. Luton yet to pick up a home Premier League victory. Jarrod Bowen flagged offside just on the edge of the Freiburg area.
We'll be giving our thoughts in the Premier League All Access podcast, won't we, about the weekend?
We will. We're recording that tonight. That'll be in your inboxes tomorrow morning, all the big games previewed. Plus a little snippet of that chat with Rob Edwards. He was very outspoken when it came to criticism in some quarters for Luton Town. I think they've done all right, actually, Luton.
I think the defeat against Burnley was a big one, though. You know, after winning
after getting back on level terms, then conceding straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you win at Goodison Park, and then you're playing Burnley, who it looks like would be sort of down there coming into the season. You need to beat the teams around you, so especially at home, I think that's a big blow there for them.
15 minutes to go in Germany. West Ham 2-1 to the good. And they are 15 minutes away from that piece of history, becoming the first English team to go 17 successive European matches without defeat. It's going to take some effort for Freiburg to deny them of that accolade in the last quarter of an hour. Here's Emerson. Home fans still in good voice. Ward-Prowse trying to give it back to Emerson. Just undercooked the pass slightly, and Hola, who missed that big chance at 1-1, tries to bulldoze his way into West Ham territory. He's been dragged to the floor, and it's a free kick on the halfway line.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be going through his mind, won't it? In the minds of everybody in the stadium as well. 1-1, they score that, and West Ham really would have been under pressure. Now, you see that Freiburg making a triple substitution. They need to somehow get back into this game.
Yeah, we appear to be in almost last throw of the dice territory as far as Christian Streich is concerned. And as Scott has mentioned there, it will be a triple change for the home side, who trail by 2-1. Maximilian Philippe is one of the players coming on. Back at Freiburg after 6 years away. He's going to be a replacement at the top end of the pitch for Hola, so he won't get the chance to atone for that error. Noah Weishaupt is also coming on in place of Lucas Kubler on the left-hand side of midfield. And the final change is Merlin Roll replacing Maximilian Egerstein. Merlin looking to produce some wizardry in the last 15 minutes of the game.
Oh dear.
Didn't like that one, though.
It's actually not bad for you.
They have got a corner here, headed behind by Emerson, under pressure on the right-hand side. The Freiburg fans bouncing up and down behind Fabianski's goal. I think it's their first corner of the game, according to my stats anyway. And the captain, Grifo, stands over the ball. Rangers have pulled a goal back in Cyprus. Seamer with a goal. 2-1 down now against Limassol. And it's still Marseille 2. Brighton and Hove Albion 1. And still 2-1 to West Ham here. That corner was easily cleared away by the dark blue jerseys.
You said about James Ward-Prowse always asked the question, and didn't there, did they?
No.
First man out of the way.
Kudus trying to force an error on the edge of the area. Cleared away by the goalkeeper, Atabulo. Then brought down calmly by Bowen, but he's passed it straight to the opposition. And here's Doan in those lime green boots down the right hand side for Freiburg into the area. The cross deflected off Souček and kindly into the path of Fabianski.
He's done well, Lucas Fabianski, hasn't he? Not had a lot to do, but when he has been asked to do something, he's been pretty commanding. Very unlucky in the goal, made a double save, almost a triple save. Just in the end, not even he could keep it out.
They are unbeaten, Freiburg, in their last 3 matches in all competitions. 2 clean sheets of the last 3 as well, having made, as Scott Minto alluded to earlier, a relatively modest start to the season. But goals have been hard to come by. In 34 league matches last year, they only managed 51 goals. That was fewer than anybody else in the top half. They're looking for an equaliser here, and it's dragged across the face of goal by their scorer, Roland Salai, when maybe he should have worked the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, it was good defending in the end from Mavropanos, because he doesn't dive in. No, in fact, it's Agerd. And he just says, OK, I'm going to try and shepherd you down. And if you want to try and take a shot early, go and take a shot. And he did, and there would have been some strike from there to beat Fabianski.
Freiburg 1, West Ham 2. Christian Streich, the long-serving, silver-haired, black top-wearing Freiburg manager, is trying to cajole his team into a late fight back. Fabianski's goal kick flicked on by Souček, and Kudus has kept possession over on the far side. What have you made of his performance tonight?
Kudus? Yeah, I think he's looked really sharp at times. A better first half performance.
It's a lovely ball to Paquetá, who controls it brilliantly on the edge of the area. Into Kudus, shoots right-footed, and he fires beyond the far post. And David Moyes knows that really could have been 3-1. Brilliant take from Paquetá, and the shot through the legs of Lienhart, but away from goal.
Oh, and I was just about to say, but that's how you finish it, so better in the second half. I think he's looked really dangerous. You know, that's what you want from your attacking players. I'd love to see him more involved in the game, but the times that he has been involved, and first of all, he's looked as if he wants to try and take on his full-back or the centre-back or whoever's up against him. He's looked positive. It would have been nice for him to score. He obviously got 2 goals in match day 1. Would have been great if he had got a goal tonight, but that's it now for him, isn't it?
Yeah, last touch for Kudus as he's replaced by Saïd Benrahma, one of the West Ham goal scorers in that Conference League final. Tells you where Danny Ings is in the pecking order, that despite the fact they've not got a number 9 out there, he's still on the bench.
Yes, it does. Yes, it really does. Not good for him.
AEK Athens have equalised in Brighton's group 1-1 against Ajax. Brighton 2-1 down with time running out away from home against Marseille. A reminder, the other game in this group, it's Baka Topola 1, Olympiacos 2, so West Ham will be on 6 points as it stands. Olympiacos and Freiburg both on 3. Topola will be bottom of the group, not top alarm. No laugh on that one?
Do you know what? Tumbleweeds are just coming across.
Here is Atabulo. 9 minutes plus stoppage time remain.
I like the effort though, Cookie. And if West Ham would have shown the effort in the first half, they'd have killed the game off.
It's going to be probably mixed emotions, is it, from David Moyes, that they've made hard work of a job that they probably could have done a lot easier.
Do you know what? He'll be delighted with this. If they come away with all 3 points, doesn't matter how it happens. Take all three points all day long. I just think it could have been even better at half-time.
Jarrod Bowen with the shots. Goalkeeper down to his left. Probably had it covered, and it's behind for a goal kick. Bowen with the instant swivel and shot from the edge of the area.
Yeah, I think there might have been a deflection on this, actually.
It may have gone through the legs of Lienhart. Certainly Bowen was asking for a corner. So the goalkeeper, I think, down to his left had it covered, although you wouldn't guarantee it with this keeper, but it is going to be a corner.
Yeah, look, if it stays this way, then David Moyes will and should be absolutely delighted. And just absolutely nitpicking here and saying that they were there for the taking in the first half. Came back into it, that miss. You're relying on a miss like that, but I think since the goal, we haven't seen much of Freiburg.
Ward-Prowse with a corner, and he's headed over the top this time by Mavropanos. And he'll be disappointed not to work the keeper. Reigns 2-1 to West Ham.
Dangerous on set pieces, West Ham. Keeper not coming out for that one again. Only 6 yards out. Great ball in from James Ward-Prowse. An outswinging one this time. Keeper perhaps after what happened for 2-1 thought, I'm staying here. But if that's on target, he's got no chance of stopping that unless it's straight at him.
He's settled in so easily, James Ward-Prowse. Very popular figure by all accounts already inside the West Ham dressing room. was a big decision for him to leave his boyhood club Southampton after their relegation. I think he felt he had to be playing in the Premier League to stand any chance of getting back into the England squad.
Big one, Cookie, but an easy one. I have to say, yeah, of course, it's a club that he loves and has been there for so long and led as a captain, but yeah, absolutely had to stay in the Premier League.
Again, sweeps the ball out to the right. Bowen tries to control it on the chest, but it bounces off him and out for a throw. He's cut a bit of a frustrated figure at times, Jarrod Bowen. He did, of course, set up the first goal very early in the first half. Cross from the right, nodded brilliantly home by Paquetá. Freiburg levelled almost straight from the restart. Roland Salai firing into the roof of the net after Fabianski had made a couple of really good saves. Nayef Aguerd heading in from a Ward-Prowse corner off the bar to give West Ham this narrow margin of victory at the moment. They've got 6 minutes plus added time to see through this 2-1 lead. Souček comes out to the right-hand side. He's got two Freiburg players for company, so he just tries to play it forward to the area, but nobody in dark blue ahead of him, and the goalkeeper will collect under no real pressure.
Paquetá playing as that furthest man up there, isn't it now?
I think it's a problem that David Moyes is going to have to solve over the course of the season when Antonio isn't available, when they come up against better standard of opponent.
Absolutely, it's such an important role, not just in terms of scoring, but holding the ball up, taking pressure off your defence if you're away from home. No, it's a role that Mikel Antonio does so well and has done for years when he's fit. And no one else to replace him at the moment.
I think I'm right in saying that his contract is up at the end of the season. Be interesting to see how that one pans out. There was loose talk of a move to Saudi Arabia over the course of the summer, and he was pretty close to leaving in January as well. Wolverhampton Wanderers sniffing around, among others.
No, I'm sorry, West Ham can't let him go, with the greatest respect to Wolves, and they couldn't let him go to Saudi Arabia really unless they could bring someone in. If you're not going to bring anyone in and you let him go, then who is going to be that main focal point?
Freiburg have their second corner of the evening. The flag's waving behind Fabianski's goal. Grifo, deep delivery, nodded away by Mavropanos. Still Freiburg with plenty of red jerseys forward, and it's played back out to Grifo down by the right corner flag. He might get the chance to get a second cross in here. Instead he plays it short, and it's collected by the diminutive Doan. Left-footed ball, which will be taken by Fabianski, although he did juggle with it a little bit before managing to gather in those white goalkeeping gloves.
Yeah, I'm just saying about how well he's done, how commanding he's been. Got away with that one. I tell you what, could easily have dropped it.
Well, he collided with Mavropanos, which made it a more difficult take than perhaps it needed to be.
Yeah, Max Philippe was just there. If it had a bounce, then he would have pounced on it.
86 on the clock. Freiburg 1, West Ham 2 here on Talksport 2. Your home of the Europa League, as Freiburg make what will be their final alteration of the game. Maximilian Bruyning is coming on, and it's the skipper for the night, Vincenzo Grifo, who makes way. Bruyning, signed from Würzburg, he's a German youth international. West Ham via Sofal launch a long throw towards the Freiburg area. Again, a bit of trickery from Paquetá, juggling the ball on his head and then running down towards the corner flag. Then he reboned it back to Sofal, and Sofal juggles it up down by that corner flag. In the end, they win a throw.
Yeah, take that. Again, just keep it down in the corner. It's not a question of going towards the corner flag and protecting the ball, but just little passes between the three of them.
Brighton are back on level terms. João Pedro, their record signing from the penalty spot from 2-0 down, has made it Marseille 2, Brighton 2. Brighton on the cusp of their first point in Europe, having lost their first home game 3-2 against AEK Athens. That's some comeback in the Velodrome.
Yeah, just about to say good comeback that really is. If they can come away with a point after what was a very disappointing home defeat in the first game, still very much in that.
Still 2-1 down, Rangers away from home against Aris Limassol in Cyprus. West Ham are going to make a double change in a moment. Danny Ings, one of those coming on. As Benrahma tries to steal the ball off the toe of Bruynig, but Freiburg keep it. Salah with a cross into the area. Awkward header clear from Mavropanos. And then it's flicked forward by Benrahma. There was a collision. And there was a Freiburg player down. The referee said play on, and Benrahma just lost track of the ball, and it's passed back to the goalkeeper, Atabolo. Is it Divin Mubamba, who's also going to come on alongside Ings? Next time there's a stop in play. Here's Sildilia down the right for Freiburg. Switches the play out to Weishaupt. Weishaupt with a chance to cross deep to the far post over the head of Doan, and Benrahma should be able to get this clear. They're started to ask more questions, Scott Minto, right at the end of the game. Freiburg, 2-1 down.
Yeah, they have to. 90 seconds plus injury time, 2-1 down at home. I think since the goal they've not reacted really well.
Doan's been dispossessed by Emerson. Emerson plays the ball upfield, and it's controlled expertly by Paquetá. The ball just stick to his feet like he's got magnets in his boots at times. Paquetá, and he's looking to chip it over the top here. It's Jarrod Bowen to seal it for West Ham. Left-footed shot wide, didn't catch it cleanly enough, and Jarrod Bowen spurns the opportunity to seal the points.
Yeah, the ball was played over the top, but it didn't really bounce on, and I wonder whether he would try and take the touch first of all, but he didn't. He was waiting for it to come down, which meant he therefore had to take it first time. He was just a little bit off balance, got a slight push, just the wrong side of the post. Not surprised to see some substitutions here, but interesting that both Mubama and also Danny Ings coming on.
Lucas Paquetá, scorer of the opening goal for West Ham, is one player who is making his way back to the dugout. I think James Ward-Prowse's number is up as well, so one former Southampton player in Danny Ings replaces another. So it looks like Jarrod Bowen is going to play the full game. What an opportunity for him. It's almost a brilliant pass from Paquetá, but you say the ball just didn't quite fall kindly for Bowen. Here's Ings, straight away picks up possession and races towards the area, and then Mubamba, I think, was tripped over by Bowen, and Freiburg can clear. 4 added minutes at the end of the 90. It's Freiburg 1, West Ham 2 in Germany. Have you seen much of Mubamba?
Well, he's a big talent. He's scored a lot of goals at the academy level, and they definitely feel he's a player who can be really important for West Ham in the future. But David Moyes was asked about him whether we'd play him, because that hasn't quite happened for Danny Ings, and he said, look, we will rely on him in the future, but I think he was kind of saying, no, we'd probably go with Jarrod Bowen. It's a lot to ask, only 18 years of age I think he is.
He scored against Larnaca last season, becoming West Ham's youngest goal scorer since Freddie Sears, and he is playing in the most advanced of the forward positions here in stoppage time. The ball is at the feet of Vladimir Sofal on the edge of the area, finds his fellow countryman Souček. Special occasion for those two, lifting the Conference League in Prague last season. And at the moment it's going to be a perfect start to the Europa League campaign as well. 2 wins from 2, barring a dramatic conclusion here. Wonder if there'll be any dramatic conclusions either in Marseille, where Brighton have come back from 2-0 down to get back on level terms. They're into stoppage time there, or in Cyprus. Rangers still 2-1 down against Limassol. In the other game in that group, Real Betis have come from a goal down. They lead Sparta Prague by 2 goals to 1. It's 2-2 now between Baka Topola and Olympiacos in this group.
I think West Ham would be a perfect night for the Hammers. Come away with all 3 points tonight, and those 2 draw.
Olympiacos away from home, West Ham's next opponents. They have to win that game. They pretty much have 1 foot in the last 16.
Absolutely. We'll avoid the round of 32 where the Champions League boys drop into it.
Yeah, that'll be certainly a priority for David Moyes. They've got 2 minutes of added time to see out here. They lead 2-1. Freiburg's unbeaten record of 7 matches in the Europa League group stage. He's hanging by a thread. Ball into the West Ham area though, cleared away by Sofal, and actually he's managed to find Danny Ings, who brings it down and spreads the play out to Mubama on the right hand side. Bowen busting a gut to get forward into port, but West Ham not really in a hurry to play it forward. Just see out the additional time is the message, I think, from David Moyes. Don't do anything too ambitious.
Absolutely, just keep the ball. If you have to go all the way back, then so be it. Just try and take the sting out of the situation.
Here's Mavropanos though, stretching those long legs over the halfway line. Bowen wanted the ball played forward. He tried to pick out Mubama, the youngster, instead, and Freiburg, as a result of that, have got one last chance to bring it forward and salvage a point. David Moyes will be frustrated if that moment of sloppiness costs his team. Shot from the edge of the area. He is fired in by Philippe, deflected behind. It's going to be a corner for Freiburg in the 4th minute of added on time.
Yeah, just 30 seconds to go now, and Mavropanos made the right decision in terms of running with the ball first of all, but then he made the wrong decision with that pass, and now he's given the ball away.
And the keeper's come forward. Noah Atabula. And he's in towards him and eventually headed over the top of the crossbar by Rowe. And that probably will be victory for West Ham, Scott.
It should be. I'm pretty sure that Lucas Fabianski will take as much time as possible. And it will be the 4 minutes up. That's it. Bulu very nearly got in there, didn't he, with the header? In the end, he wasn't quite able to do it.
Well, there goes the full-time whistle. West Ham United become history makers, record breakers. The first team in English football history to go 17 successive European games unbeaten. One more for David Moyes than the likes of Pep Guardiola, Don Revie and Bill Nicholson. They took the lead early in the first half. Lucas Paquetá with an imperious header from Jared Bowen's whip delivery. They were pegged back early in the second. Roland Salai finishing at the 3rd time of asking for Freiburg, but Naif Aguerd heading home off the bar from James Ward-Prowse's corner makes it a perfect start. 2 wins from 2 in this Europa League campaign, and the Conference League holders very much on course for a place in the knockout stages. And what about that, Scott Minto? 17 European games unbeaten for David Moyes' men.
Yeah, look, you mentioned some top class managers, and you have to say it's a higher than majority of it, a higher European competition, but still it's not an easy thing to do, going away from home and playing at home and dealing with the demands of the Premier League and then the competitions they've been involved in. It's fantastic, and it shows how I think they are used to that kind of Thursday, Sunday now. It's a really good result. It's a great result. It wasn't a great performance, but it doesn't matter when you're away from home. It was almost not only needed to be in 3rd gear in the first half, and I just felt 1-0 wasn't quite enough. They came back into it, Freiburg, and had that wonderful chance, didn't they, from Huller, and he missed it. And then West Ham said, no, we've got to grasp the nettle here. And you have to say a goalkeeper mistake for 2-1, but a wonderfully, really not just confident but brave header from Aguerd means that West Ham come away with all 3 points now, and that is a really, really good away win.
Any standout performer for you as far as West Ham are concerned?
I think James Ward-Prowse was excellent again, set pieces and in open play. You know, I want to see a little bit more of Lucas Paquetá. He scored the goal. He could maybe claim that his goal that was disallowed shouldn't have been disallowed, but in terms of open play, I want to see a little bit more from him. But no, I think it's been a really solid performance from the defenders, and with James Ward-Prowse in front of them as well, alongside Alvarez. I think it was just that one real moment, 2 moments I think over the whole 90 minutes where they looked a little bit flaky. Apart from that, very strong away defensive performance.
So West Ham top of the group. They are 3 points ahead of Freiburg. It's finished on as even between Olympiacos and Topola. That is another really pleasing result for West Ham United in a very commanding position in this group. It's finished in France as well. Brighton from 2-0 down have picked up their first ever European point. It finished 2-2. Pascal Grossner penalty from their record signing João Pedro, salvaging a share of the spoils. Rangers deep in stoppage time, a 2-1 down against Aris Limassol in Cyprus. It doesn't get any easier for the Glasgow Giants. My thanks to Scott Minto on what's been another ultimately successful night for West Ham United. Their fantastic European record continues. They've beaten Freiburg away from home by 2-1. And coming up next on Talksport 2, we have live PGA Tour golf.